It's good to see so many people here this evening. Quite a few old faces, old friends, and quite a few people who I haven't seen before and I may never see again because you haven't got your cameras on. Um, uh, uh, anyway, welcome, and a particularly big welcome to Ajahn Barry Subhaddo. He has a lot, well, he's a long-term friend of the class, a long-term friend of the society, and he has just a wealth of experience that I'm delighted that he's going to be sharing it with us this evening. Over to you, Ajahn Barry.
Thank you very much, Colin. And welcome, everybody. It's really good to see so many people. I'll just do a short introductory chant sharing our refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhanam sangham namasami. As I always say that I start with the same thing, and it happens that I go right through the whole meeting saying the same thing as I normally do. Perhaps I say something just for a second, something a little bit different. Colin says his nice introduction, I have a wealth of experience. When I was quite young, teenager, a bit rebellious, having an argument with my father, and he would say to me, what you know, if you wrote it down, wouldn't fill the back of a postage stamp. Well, basically, what I know about Buddhism now, after all these years, if I wrote it down, wouldn't fill the back of a postage stamp. Because to me, it is about actual practice. It's about the anicca, dukkha, anatta, understanding suffering, really, really understanding it, not theoretically, but truly understanding it. Understanding no self. What is that? How could that be? Getting to truly know that, and it's not so difficult to see that in the present moment. Getting to see that everything is constantly changing. And this is where a lot of our problems come from, because we try and fixate the good times, get rid of things we don't like. So of course we run into trouble, firm views and opinions, sicknesses, because there's always that tension, that dissonance in the mind, in the body. Getting to know the Four Noble Truths, which I used to think was child's play Buddhism, not the deeper Mahayana, Vajrayana, Mahamudra, the deep Zen, Dzogchen practices, Zen practices. But in actual fact, I think it is the very essence of Buddhism. But the practice of Buddhism, again, not just the theory about it. This is not about learning a load of scripture, learning a lot of techniques. It's about truly knowing our own hearts, truly letting our intuitive nature come forth, because our intellect has completely taken over. We ignore our intuition. We ignore our true wisdom. So getting to see that, getting to trust it. Because we're basically control freaks, We like to think we can control ourselves, the world, other people, our lives. We tend to dismiss this quiet, knowing, intuitive side. I mean, I'm using intuition, the word intuition, because I don't know of any better word, but it is about experience, experiential. Getting to know that place, getting to know that quiet place and trusting it. As I say, we normally dismiss it because we don't trust it. We feel we need to be in control. So it's quite difficult for us to let go of that control. And there's a double difficulty in the way that we cannot let go of that control. Many people say, just let go. We cannot let go. But in the present moment, when there is awareness, and there is awareness of that, our true heart, there is an automatic letting go. In a sense, it's got nothing to do with me in terms of me wanting to become or get rid of something. Understanding the Four Noble Truths, understanding suffering, truly understanding it. Again, for myself, for many years, how do I get to understand suffering? Because I am suffering. That's all I know. I had no sort of objective view on suffering. But getting to know that is prior to suffering, prior to the mind creating suffering, creating samsara, creating the world that we project onto the world. Truly getting to know that, truly getting to understand it. And the understanding is it's evident, it's obvious once we look from that place of knowing. It gets difficult around these words because of knowing, yes, but the knowing cannot be known. It cannot be known by this separate self that we create, this ego. It just is when we truly let go. Remembering, words are funny, aren't they? We cannot let go. But there is a letting go when we are present in this moment, when we are just aware. And in that place that seems that we dismiss, we can see, we can feel, we can think, we can talk, but we're not carried away by these things. We're not sort of this, it's not like Mara has us by the throat and dragging us around, or we're not like a leaf being blown around in the wind of the passions or the desires. Getting to truly know in the heart, not in the head. Getting to understand the causes of suffering. Many translations say desire, tanha. Personally, I find it's attachment to the desire. I don't know how we can truly be human without desire, but it's a big difference from attaching to that desire, which causes problems because we cannot fixate that desire. We cannot get what we want. And if we do get what we want, we find it's not fulfilling after a while. So we go on to the next thing. Want. It's never ending. This is the hungry ghosts on the wheel of life. mural, painting. Can't get enough. That attachment to becoming, wanting to become even enlightened, wanting to become wise, wanting to become a really good Buddhist. Don't want to become a really good Buddhist. Be a really good Buddhist. And be a really good Buddhist by coming from that place that is free from our conditioning, freed from our karma. Of course, we'll fall back into our old ways, but the more we practice, so to speak, of just coming back, just being aware, just functioning from that place, the less power the delusion will have over us. Starting to see those attachments, those desires. Once they're seen, they start to dissipate, they start to weaken. And then we start to see in that place, before the thinking mind kicks in, before the opinionated, attached mind kicks in, we start to see the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering. Because if anybody looks right now, using one of your senses, because that's the easiest, your seat on the chair or on a cushion or the feeling on your hands, if you look right now at that sensation and notice how is the mind in that very moment. And I've never met anybody who, without thinking about it, who can say that it's not at peace. But as I say, in that place, it's fully aware. So getting to know that the cessation of suffering, getting to know that place of true contentment, of true wisdom, and that wisdom is not on what's going to happen to the world, to conflicts, to our evolving or devolving or whatever. But there's a true wisdom, a true knowing, a true understanding of the way it is, which is not clouded by this veil of views and opinions that we see the world through. And when we truly get to know this place, which as I say is not difficult, it's right obvious to everybody right now, if they just look at a sense, a feeling, and notice how the mind is in that moment. It doesn't mean to say you have to blank out, become like a vacuum or just space. No, there's a full awareness there. So getting to know that, then we can truly practice the Eightfold Path. Right view, right thought, right speech, right action, etc. And many times we try and practice these things. And I've heard many questions saying, what is right? And then this for hours goes along, a long conversation on what is right thought, what is right view, what is right action. It sounds a bit drastic, but the way I see it, everything is wrong if it's coming from our conditioned self. But it's right, so to speak, when it's coming from that place of no self. And this is what Buddhism's about. Some people find this, what I'm talking about, a little bit extreme. Again, I've heard people say, "Oh no, you shouldn't talk this way," and until they've been practicing for years and years and years. But the problem is, we practice for years and years and years and become so attached to the teachings and the techniques, it becomes even more difficult to see through to the truth in our own hearts. So coming from that place in every thought, every deed, every action, at work, at play, responding to other people, in our meditation, and meditation as in not trying to get or become, but so far as I can see, Buddhism is about letting go, not becoming, not even becoming a Buddhist. Looking at the teachings from another perspective. I like to think of them as being seeds, getting to know the suttas, but they will never answer the question. They will never liberate you. But if they're planted as a seed, when the conditions are right, they will germinate. Then it will make real sense. Because we can tend to imagine that I understand. Oh yeah, I understand. That's brilliant. That's a brilliant sutta. Yeah, it's brilliant, but it's very unlikely unless you have really done some work, as in knowing our true heart. It's very unlikely that will awaken you, or mean much more to you than more thoughts. Looking at the teachings, looking at the precepts. Why would I want to break the precepts if there is nobody there? If I'm in the present moment, then my desires to kill, to get drunk, to sexually abuse somebody, or it just doesn't make sense. So this is really truly keeping the precepts. Being mindful. Mindfulness is the path to the deathless. Heedlessness is the path to death. Now again, my encouragement is, yes, we come into mindfulness is the practice, so to speak, but it's not I am being mindful. I am walking carefully. I am walking slowly. It's got nothing to do with you. There is walking, and there's using those sensations to be present, to be aware, to be in the present moment, and seeing truly how the heart mind is in that moment. So we need to be careful that it's not it's not me wanting, desiring. So say mindfulness is the practice, but it's not the technique of it that is the practice. It's the fact that it gives us the opportunity when we're present to see truly how the mind is in that moment, to get to know it, to get to trust it, and then become it. So we'll do a couple of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I'll play it by ear a bit with the time, of a guided meditation. And anybody, I don't know, I can see one who's been with me before, but they'll know exactly what I'm going to do. And I do a sweeping guided meditation. But it's not about, I might say, become aware of the head. It's not about the head. It's about how the mind is when we shift our attention. I might say, be aware of the eyebrows. Well, I've never managed to be aware of the eyebrows, but I can notice how my mind stops in that quiet place when I shift my attention to the eyebrows or the fingernails. And this is what we're interested in. We're not interested in the technique. We're interested in that space, that place of knowing, which will obviously seem a bit vacant until we start to trust it, because it's not full of ourselves. So sitting in a posture that's helpful to your awareness, sitting however it suits your body, sitting on a cushion or on a chair, it really doesn't matter. I recommend your hands being together, but again, if you're used to them being apart, that's fine. The only reason I say that is because it can seem that there's a lot of energy flowing through them. Now that again is irrelevant, but what is relevant is it's quite easy to know that space, that place of knowing from that. Head slightly pushed up, the crown of the head, nothing forced. We're not trying to get or gain or become anything or to achieve anything. Like being a good meditator, again, that's just the desire to become. But the posture helps us. It reminds us when the mind carries us away. And that is not a problem. The mind is divisive by nature, and that's not a problem. It's just the way it is. The more we can just know that, accept it, so to speak, the less power it has over us, the less we are drawn away. We notice that. The moment we notice that, there is awareness. That's all we need to do, is to be aware, just to notice when the mind starts to do what it normally does. But do not in any way beat yourself up. This is about true metta, loving kindness. Just come back. Just come back to a part of the body, to a feeling. Nothing more. And notice, be aware in that true place of mindfulness. So getting to feeling the whole of the body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head. Not commenting or judging, or just as it is, with all its feelings and sensations. Noticing the breath, not following the breath, just being aware of the ordinary breathing. Maybe being aware of the sound of silence, or when the mind does stop, you can hear the sound of silence. So bringing your attention, your awareness, your mindfulness, your bare attention to the top of the head. They're just names. And noticing. If you cannot feel the top of your head, that's absolutely fine. It's not about the top of your head. It's about that space prior to the thinking mind. So allowing that awareness to spread down the back of the head. Just noticing. And down the sides of the head. Becoming aware of the ears. As I said, you don't need to project. You just need to notice that place of our true refuge. Now becoming aware of the forehead. And the eyebrows. And the eye sockets. And the eyeballs. And the eyelashes. And becoming aware of the nose. And the nostrils. Not focusing in on these places, just shifting the attention and noticing. And the mouth and the lips. And the tongue. The chin. The jaw. And the cheeks of the face. Now bringing into your awareness the whole of your face, the head, the back of the head, the sides of the head. There's nothing to do here, there's nothing to get, there's just being aware. And that's not a doing, it's a letting go, a true letting go. So allowing that awareness to spread down from the head, the face, round the neck and into the shoulders. As I say, if you cannot find this, if you cannot find your shoulders, then you can see that space, you can know that space, that place of knowing. So letting that awareness spread down from the shoulders, down the arms, the upper arms to the elbows. And from the elbows down to the wrists and the hands. Just if there are sensations, just feeling those sensations from that awareness, not going out to them, not questioning them, not adjusting them. Just being aware from that place of awareness. Being aware of the hands, the back of the hands, the thumbs, the knuckles, the joints of the fingers, the whole of the fingers, the tips of the fingers, and the palms of the hands. The joints of the fingers, the tips of the fingers, and the fingernails. What happens when you move your attention to the fingernails. Without projecting a picture, there can only be spaciousness, awareness. You know, being aware of your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your face and the head. Now becoming aware of your back from the shoulders down the back and the shoulder blades, the sides of the trunk, the spine, the lower back, the arch of the back. The coccyx, the buttocks, and the hips. Now bringing into your awareness the whole of your back, from the hips to the shoulders, the hands, the arms, the neck, the head and the face. Now becoming aware of the chest, from the shoulders down the chest, through the rib cage and the sides of the trunk, the diaphragm, the stomach, the belly, the navel, intestines, the groin, and the hips. Again, just bringing the whole of the front of the body, the back of the body, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the face, and the head. Just being aware. So allowing that awareness to spread down from the hips, down the legs, to the knees, the front, the back of the legs, the sides of the legs. Just being aware of feelings, not judging, not analyzing. And noticing how the heart mind is when it is present. So now becoming aware of the lower legs from the knees down to the ankles. Noticing sensations, but not going out to them, just knowing them from that place of awareness. Now becoming aware of the feet, the top of the feet, the soles of the feet, the heels, the arches, the balls of the feet, the toes, the joints of the toes, the tips of the toes, top of the feet, the sides of the feet, the toes and the toenails. How is it when we take our attention, our awareness, our mindfulness to our toenails? There's a cessation of our separation, our thinking mind. But it's not dull, dumb, or stupid. It is aware. Now bringing the whole of your body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head into your awareness. Noticing the breathing, the natural, gentle breathing. Not following it in the nose or the throat or the chest or the abdomen. Just the gentle breathing without any interference or concentration. Just gentle breathing. Listening from that quiet place before the thinking mind kicks in. Just listening, nothing more, but not going out to sounds. Maybe noticing your own sounds or the sound of silence. Not going out, not rejecting, just pure listening. Most crucially, noticing how is the mind, how is the heart-mind. When there is just listening. So we'll have a short break for now. We'll do another period of formal meditation. I say formal because I really don't think meditation ends. Getting to know that place prior to the thinking mind, of that place of true wisdom. There is really no reason that we cannot know that in any part of our daily life, of all our actions, our talking. We perhaps use a favorite place to be aware. It could be the feet if you're standing or walking, not to go and concentrate on the feet, to be aware of the feet and then back off slightly. Then be aware of that sensation from the awareness. Difficult to explain this, but from that place of awareness. So that can be whilst talking to people, whilst watching the TV, whilst playing an instrument. There really is no reason why that we cannot bring this into our life, into the real Eightfold path, into every action, every thought. But obviously it takes practice, because we do need to prove it to ourselves. Prove it to ourselves as in, I always give this little analogy or simile I made up once of, life is walking on hot coals. That's the suffering. But it's normal. It's normal. We're walking on these hot coals. Oh, life is like this. Yeah, it's all like this. Well, we have to cope with it. But, the more we are truly mindful, truly aware, the more we step onto a cool grass verge. And of course, through our habitual ways, we go back onto the coals. But the more we do it, the more we say, well, why on earth would I want to walk on hot coals when I can be walking on the grass verge? And practice is like that. This is the true understanding. It's not a theoretical one. So really, that's why I say, bring our meditation, which is really no different. I mean, we're just sitting still now and being aware, hopefully, of particular parts of the body or whatever is most useful to us. But meditation really needs to be all waking hours. When we wake up in the morning, scan through the body quickly, scan through the body. Notice for myself, I notice, if things are not going particularly, oh no. Then I look to see how it really is. and that falls away. These dreads or thoughts just fall away. And that sets us up for the day, practicing through the day. When we go to bed, just again scan through the body. Be with using, so to speak, not actually using, but being with the body, getting to notice all the time how it truly is, not how I think it is, not how I'm projecting onto the world what I think it is, but truly getting to know that place and trusting it. Anyway, that's enough. We'll sit for another 20 or so minutes, maybe a quarter of an hour, to give you a chance for questions. I really like questions because it really can help clarify for the one who's answering asking the question, or for many other people, because we all basically have the same question. It comes out in different forms, but it's really valuable if you have. It's a contribution, not only to everybody in the group here, but to myself as well, because I'm going always saying, if I want to tell you how to get out of this room, I will tell you how to get out of this room, which is to get up, walk about 10 steps that way, open the door and get out. I'm trying to keep everything simple, not to give you too much Buddhism, too much philosophy, too many ideas, too many, the Buddha said this, or the Buddha said that, or so-and-so said this, or so-and-so said that. No, look into your own heart. Okay, so we'll sit again. I'll give the occasional reminder this time. So just experiment as in finding a place that it's easiest for you to tether the mind to. The buttocks sitting on the seat, hands, whatever. Even the sounds or the sound of silence. So make a little adhitthana, which is a determination, just to use this time together, so to speak, not to waste it. Use this time just to let go by being present and noticing how our mind is truly peaceful and content. So either scanning through the body or finding one particular place that's easier to tether the mind. Awareness is awareness, so it really doesn't matter. As long as there is awareness. So when the mind starts to wander, just gently come back. Come back to the body or the breath or the sounds, the sound of silence. Not forcing, not beating yourself up. And noticing, how is it? How is that place of true wisdom? So if tiredness is starting to creep in, just add a little bit more energy in the body, not energy to do something extra, to become something, but just to be aware, just to notice that sleepiness. Just to notice the habits of the mind, just going off into trips around the world or various views and opinions. Just come back, no commenting, no judging. Just come back to the body, a part of the body, or the breath. Just being that stillness. Nothing to get, nothing to gain. No becoming. Just being aware. Just being with that gentle breathing. So please, if you have any questions, please ask, comments, criticisms, whatever. Please just go ahead and see what comes out of them.
And everybody should be unmuted if you want to ask a question using your mics. And if you don't, please feel free to put any questions or comments in chat, and I will do my best to make sure that Ajahn Barry gets to hear them or see them. So any questions or discussion, please?
Was there a chat that came through, Colin? Because I noticed something flash up on the screen.
Well, it didn't flash up on mine, Barry, I'm afraid. So maybe if you send something to Barry and we missed it, and there's Wongdu there who's kindly managing things behind the scene. I don't know whether he saw anything, but
I didn't see it. If they send the chat directly to Ajahn Barry, so none of us can see it. So they can send either to Colin or me, so we can read it for Ajahn.
Thank you.
Ajahn Barry, I have a quick question, if that's okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Well, firstly, thank you so much. It's always a joy to hear you talking. So the question is, you mentioned how not to create an image in our minds of the body part, and yet as we were going through the meditation, it sort of instinctive to do that. For example, the toenails or something, the nails.
Yeah.
The mind does, with a lot of all the going through the whole body, having that image in the mind in order to kind of access it in awareness, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think what I'm actually saying is, of course, the mind will try and create. First to the fingernails, we'll try and picture them, but then we withdraw from that. We don't. It's linger. Not about. It's not. Yeah, we don't linger. It's not about thinking the image is it.
Yeah.
What we're interested in is how the mind ceases its neurotic behavior when we are present. So of course, we'll go at the top of the head or the eyebrows, but then come back a bit, just withdraw a bit. So we're not actually believing in that. You know what I'm sort of trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started doing something similar because I'm finding myself thinking, I'm thinking of this and then I'm not, and I thought, hang on a minute, just sort of, you've got it in your mind, and then just exactly what you said, just take a step back and.
Yes, yeah. It takes a little bit of practice, but it comes from my questioning. Why do we practice mindfulness? Was my question. Why do we practice techniques? With my questions. Because we can get lost in the technique, in being mindful. Yeah. But if we just come back, mindfulness is not it, but it gives us the opportunity to see our true nature.
Absolutely, yeah. I kind of came to that as well, actually, doing it, because I began realizing that everything is a concept, but there was sort of it's nice to be able to sort of go have the technique to see what's going on and then come back away from it. So it's like an ebb and flow almost.
Yes.
Whereas rather before you're just in that mind mess all the time. But this is quite nice, just to come in and out, sort of. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Because it is a matter of, because we're human beings. We're part of the human race society, and we need to take part. But we gradually get to see it as a film show that's going on, and we're looking at the screen. It's not truly what is. What is within us is pure awareness, so to speak. So it gives us that sort of, detachment's the wrong word, because it's very difficult to explain. It gives us that view, that bird's eye view of life, instead of being caught up in the drama, as I like to say, in the soap opera. We don't have to play a starring role in the soap opera. We can play in the soap opera, but we know it's just a soap opera. If that makes any sense, I'll be surprised if it does.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it certainly does, it really, really does. But in a way, I think of it more like kind of you're in it, but not in it.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Simultaneously playing it and not playing it, sort of putting it out. And,
no, that's a very good way to put it, yes.
Barry, I've got...
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I've got three good questions and comments in chat here. So here we go with number one. When I fall asleep, I'm at peace in a natural state. Is it okay to do this during meditation?
If one of my Morinaga Roshi, who used to come over from Japan when I was in the Zen tradition, said it's fine while sitting on the cushion to fall asleep. There's no problem. But is there real awareness during that time? And it's unlikely there is much awareness when you're asleep. So if you can be aware, truly aware, and asleep while you're meditating, can I book a lesson with you?
Should we go on to the next question? This is quite a long one. Hi, Ajahn Barry. Thank you so much, as usual, for a nourishing session with many reminders of how we can approach meditation in life. Now, here are the two questions. One, why do I seem much more reactive to what I perceive as annoyances from family members compared to people whom I am less close to? Right. The second question is, how can I care for others in a way that does not feel like I'm depleting my energies? Phrased differently, how can I work to develop a well within me that is never empty, so I can always draw from it to give care to others? And then, if nobody else has questions, can I ask a third question? Any tips on how to meditate with pain from an injury? Thank you, from Serenia. Well, there are three questions here, Barry. So over to you, and I'll repeat any if you if you need prompting.
Yeah, for me, there is only one answer to all of those questions, and that's to be truly mindful. So whether it's the family annoying you, or the boss at work, which might be of a less annoyance, or this deep well of whatever tranquility, The problem is not the symptoms. The problem is we're divided. We do not know our true nature. So actually the problems are not the problem. The problem, so to speak, although it's not a problem, is our ignorance of Vijja, of the way it is, of anicca, dukkha, anatta, and say the Four Noble Truths. If there's any problem, that is the problem. But the problems are not the problem. So we need to really look to see, to get to know, to answer those 3 questions or 4 questions from our own hearts. Really look when you're with the family, and yeah, they know all the buttons to push. You know, it's part of the fun of being a family member. You know, rile the others up, get them going. But really look in that moment, really, I mean, that's a real teacher, because it's giving you opportunities to be present with whatever, your feet while the kids are whatever, or your partners, whatever. Use these as teachings. Use them as reminders just to come back and see how it is then. That's it.
I'm gonna follow up, because the third question from Serenia is one that I've heard actually you've answered before, but it's worth hearing again. Any tips on how to meditate with pain from an injury? Meditating with pain, Barry.
Yeah. I mean, I know meditation with pain because I've always had bad knees, and I've done a lot of sitting and pushing myself much too much and damaging even more. But if we truly, say, develop wisdom, we can investigate those feelings. For instance, what I do is, if I've got pains, I'll look at that pain objectively, and in the back of my mind there's a thought, what is that feeling? And I'll just be with that feeling. Now, what is that feeling mine? And I'll just sit with that for a while. Is it mine? What is that feeling? And then I will respond accordingly without reacting. But often the biggest mistake people make when they're having to be with pain or suffering is to want to try and get rid of it. And as I often say, you cannot make deals with the Dhamma. You cannot say, because I'm meditating, I'm practicing, I understand Buddhism, the pain will go away. No, it won't. It'll come back and bite you. Because that's you again, trying to get Second Noble Truth, trying to get rid of it, trying to become something else. So there's a true acceptance, and maybe that pain will really lessen. You know, oftentimes medics will say only 20% of somebody's pain is real. The other 80% is what we add on top of it. So look at it clearly, but don't try and get rid of it. Don't try and make deals with it. Just look at it clearly for what it is, and then respond, whether it means moving, exercising, or whatever, I don't know. But responding from that place of clarity, from that place of no self, not from a reactive, knee-jerk reaction of, I don't like this, it's hell, I can't cope with it anymore. Try it, experiment, practice, and look.
Thank you very much, Ajahn Barry, and thank you, Colin.
Okay, so Serenia, I hope that makes sense in some way.
Yeah, it does. Definitely a lot to, think about and reflect on. But yeah, sorry that if I was a bit greedy having asked 3 questions.
No, that's absolutely fine. No, it's great to get these things out in the open and see what comes out of it. But just look, just be with those feelings, just get to know them. Don't feed them. By trying to get rid of these things, we're adding petrol on the fire. We're making them worse. It might be that we have to live with chronic pain, and that's a fact. But if we're not adding on top of it, it's going to be less. There's going to be less suffering.
Yeah, to practice not to fuel it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I've got just one more in chat for you. In my previous experience in transcendental meditation, my thought is becoming empty and not concentrating on a particular body part. Is emptiness considered wrong? I rather mean consciousness, not thought.
Yeah, I mean, the words are difficult, aren't they? Emptiness, emptiness sounds a bit empty to me. I mean, for me, this is about being fully human. If you can just be, I mean, I use the techniques of doing guided sweeping meditations because a lot of people find, some people can't stand it, but a lot of people find it quite useful. And but if you're able to just be without doing that, which tends to happen when you've been practicing for a while, you don't need to consciously go to your feet, say, and then come back a bit, because it becomes the default way of life. We don't need to intentionally do things. It becomes the norm. I don't know if that answers that at all.
Any follow-up questions or comments? If not,
What time is it?
well,
It's just
gone 8 o'clock here, just gone 9 o'clock with you, I guess.
Yeah.
Shall we bring things to a close?
If there's no questions.
Going. Gone. Look, I want to thank you very much for coming to the class. Obviously, the questions indicate how much we all appreciate you doing this. And in fact, the next time Ajahn Barry will be leading the class, will be, just checking my diary, the 25th of November. So do put that in your diaries and make sure you're there. Or here. But the class runs every Thursday. And next week, in fact, it's our friend Richard Bober who will be looking after the class. So come along and hear Richard. Oh, somebody has sent me a little message. Thank you, your answer is revealing. That was the one about not thinking or consciousness or whatever. And then somebody's also sent to me, closing homage, ? Over to you.
Sorry, what?
Closing homage. Do you want to sort of offer a closing homage?
How do you mean a closing homage?
Well,
I mean, there are, when a bhikkhu gives a talk formally, there will be a closing homage, but that's done by somebody else to the bhikkhu talking. So I can't do one for myself.
Well, maybe I'm supposed to say thank you very much again.
Well, that's a very nice closing homage.
Buddhists do things in threes. So thank you, Ajahn Barry. Thank you very much, Ajahn Barry. And thank you so much that we really want to see you again on the 25th of November.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we will. And my real encouragement to everybody is to really look at this. You know, don't sort of just say, oh, that was this is if it suits you, this group, oh, that was interesting or whatever. But actually look, and you'll really soon start to see and discover that our true nature is always there in every moment. There's never not a time that our true nature is not there. It's just that we cover it up. So really look and be happy, be content.